So today we are going to talk about sweating. So sweating is basically cooking an ingredient at very low heat over an extended period of time. And the goal with sweating is to build flavor. It is to concentrate flavor, and is often the first step when you are cooking either a sauce, say like a marinara, or a soup. Sweating is a technique that you want to use when you don't want a lot of color in something as well. So say you're making a cauliflower soup that you really want to be this beautiful, vibrant white, then you're not going to want to caramelize your onions, say, because the caramelizing is going to create a caramel color or a darker color, which will then be present in your soup. So say you want a very creamy white soup, then you definitely want to use the sweating method. It's also a great way to build flavor. So when you want a sauce to be really kind of have a lot of depth, then it's the first step in building that depth of flavor. So today we're going to sweat an onion. You can sweat anything from garlic, onion, mirepoix, so onion, celery, and carrots. You really want to sweat anything that you want to just really concentrate and get the flavors out of. So what we're going to be looking for when we sweat our onion is for the onion to become soft and translucent. We don't want to hear any real like sizzling sound, any of those noises that you would associate with sauteing. We're not looking for any of that loud, crackling, sizzling noise. We barely want to hear this onion cooking, okay? So we have our pan here in the stove, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to set it to its lowest heat. So a lot of times when you're cooking, you may want to preheat your pan. With sweating, we don't need to preheat it. So I'm going to take my onion, which I have finely diced, and this is an important thing when you are cooking pretty much any ingredient, especially when sweating though, is that you want to have really uniform pieces in your dice, and you don't want to have them be too large. A large ingredient when you're sweating especially is going to cook quicker on the outside than on the inside. So you want them to be small and uniform. I'm going to put these in my pan here. And then I'm going to add a fat. So I'm going to choose olive oil. It has a medium-high cook point again, so medium smoke point. And this is perfect for sweating because we're cooking at a really low temperature over a period of time. And I just want to add enough, that was about a tablespoon, but I just want to add enough so that my onion is coated in this fat. So you don't need any more than that. Looks like I missed a little piece here, so I'm just going to cut it up to be uniform. And now I'm just going to let this do its thing. So I'm going to stir it occasionally, but I'm just going to let it kind of start to cook here over this very low heat. The end result is going to be that the onion's flavor is going to be, very soft, but very concentrated. Say our onion gets a little bit too hot, say that my temperature on my stove, say I've got the heat up just a little bit too much. What I can do to cool it down is obviously turn the gas or your electric stove down even lower if it can go lower, or I could add a teaspoon or a tablespoon of cold water to it, and that will immediately cool it down. The other method of sweating is that I could get this going and then I could add a little water to it and add a lid on top, and what that is going to do is add some condensation up at the top. It's going to all fall back down and create, it's going to sweat kind of in that little bit of water and steam. The only disadvantage to that is that you can't really see what's going on because you have a lid on, and you can't hear it as well. So I'm going to be really, over the next, this is probably going to take about 7 minutes for this onion to completely sweat. So over these next, 5 to 7 minutes, I'm going to be listening. Am I getting any crackling? I'm going to be looking. Do I have any color kind of forming on these onions that I don't want? And you can't do that if you have a lid on the pot, right? So I prefer the lid off sweating method that we're doing right now. And I'm just going to, again, be watching this to see if there's any sort of sizzling, any sort of crackling. I don't want any of that. I just want it on a really low heat. Again, I've got my fine dice going, and I'm just gonna let these get really soft and translucent. I can see that it's starting to happen already. It's releasing its aromas. I can kind of feel it in my eyes. You know, the onions are always hard. I was crying as I was dicing. And we're just gonna let it do its thing. So I can, from here, I could add some garlic in there. I could do a little fine diced carrot and celery. Then I could add some tomato paste. I could turn the heat up then and brown it, and I would be on my way to a great marinara. That's gonna be another video. So there we go. Sweating. Fine dice, even dice, low heat over an extended period of time. It's often your first kind of base layer of building a lot of flavors in a sauce or a soup. So make sure there's no sizzling or sauteing sound. Stir occasionally, and you just want enough fat in there to coat your ingredient. All right, we'll see you next time.